Welcome to the Feast Life, where we empower you, the modern homeschool mom, to create a life and homeschool you love, one founded on faith, family, freedom, and fun. I'm your host, Julie Ross, creator of the award-winning homeschool curriculum, A Gentle Feast, and a certified Christian life coach. For more information on today's episode and to access my free gift for you, check out thefeastlife.me. Charlotte Mason once said, "Life should be all living, not a mere tedious passing of time." So on this show, we seek to savor the feast of life. Girl, grab your favorite beverage and pull up a chair. You are welcome at this table.
What if the reason your homeschool feels scattered isn't because of your curriculum or your kids, but because of the story you're telling yourself? So often we enter a school year with big dreams. We have the perfect book list, a shiny new planner, and detailed schedules. But within a few weeks, doubt creeps in. I'm too impatient. I'm not organized enough. This shouldn't be so hard. These thoughts begin to shape how we show up, and ultimately, they shape the results we see. The truth is, your homeschool doesn't rise and fall on your plans. It rises and falls on your identity and your priorities. When you know who you are, what matters most, and why it matters, you create space for joy, peace, and connection to flourish. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to set the right priorities for your homeschool year that is going to give you the clarity and the confidence to continue on this path no matter what may happen. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Feast Life. I'm so glad you are able to join me. So setting your vision and figuring out what is important to you, what is the outcome you want for your homeschool, that will guide and direct your steps. And that will make sure that you end your year going, wow, we were able to get to da, 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 rather than feeling defeated and overwhelmed and that you never got to the things that were really important to you. So setting your vision, knowing where you're going is the first step. We have to work on how we see ourselves, the way that we talk to ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, which really comes down to our identity. So the thoughts that you think about yourself on a regular basis become who you are. And so you could have the most compelling vision for your homeschool, you can have the best plans, but if your identity is constantly telling you're not good enough, you're not capable, this isn't going to work, this shouldn't be this hard, I'm too disorganized, I'm too impatient. If that is your identity, you are going to create results that confirm that identity. We talked about how our brains don't like it when they have a belief and they're seeing evidence that's contrary to it. That's called cognitive dissonance. Our brain doesn't like that. We want things that are confirming what we believe and showing us, oh yeah, that's true, that's right. We don't want to feel that kind of tension. And so we need to change our identity, the things that we say about ourselves, what we believe about ourselves first, and to the vision that we want to be. And then we can create goals. We can create a plan that's going to help us get there. But if our identity is misplaced, we could have the best goals and the best laid plans, and we're not going to get the vision that we desire because we're not actually operating from our true self. And at first, your brain is going to convince you of all the ways you are not those things. You have to have the faith to believe in things that are unseen, to believe that these are God-given desires and qualities that He put into you, and that really is your true self. And that through working through it, through starting to find evidence, starting to reclaim your thoughts and change your mind about the way that you view yourself, that you will start to see more evidence of how that really is true, how those words really do describe you. Does that mean you're going to be those things all the time? Absolutely not, right? Our flesh and our false self is still very much there, but we can grow into every day becoming more and more of our true selves. All right, so today we're going to be talking about our rocks. So your rocks are the things that are most important to you. So when you're thinking through your vision for your homeschool, I wanted you to identify 5 rocks that really capture the 5 most important things for you. If we get these things accomplished, This will be a wonderful, amazing year. So you have the rock. And then I want you to write your why, your reason. Why is this so important to you? Your why should be so motivating for you. It makes you like want to jump out of bed in the morning. I can't wait. I get to do this. This is so amazing. What a privilege I have. Yes. If your why is, yeah, that would be nice if that happens. That's not a very good reason. Okay. So you might really need to journal and brainstorm about this why. So if you write something because you think this is what everybody else says is important, so I think I should do this in my homeschool, and you start writing out your why and you realize like it's not super motivating for you, it's not super compelling for you, you might want to go back and work that rock and see if that's something is truly that you want, or you knowing your why can help you refine that even more. Let me give you an example of this. I was working with a coaching client, and one of her goals was to start meal prepping. And she was having a lot of resistance with it. And she wasn't doing anything to accomplish this goal, wasn't doing anything for it. And it was like, okay, usually that means like your why is not really in alignment. Because if your why was really motivating you and if it was something that was like a non-negotiable for your life, like you would totally be taking steps on this. So I started talking to her, helping her break it down a little more, like, why do you want to meal prep? And she said she wanted meal prep so that they would eat healthier meals, but that she had her grandchildren come over several times a week and she loved baking cookies for them and pies for them. And like her grandkids loved having those. And so she really didn't think that she could eat healthier because her grandkids wouldn't be able to have all these sweets and they wouldn't be able to have these yummy treats that they loved coming over to her house to have. And I was like, of course you have resistance, right? Like you love your grandkids, you love these special memories for you. And again, remember, our brains love things that are comfortable. They love things that are comfortable. They don't want to change. And so, of course, your brain is offering up all kinds of resistance and all kinds of reasons why you don't want to do this. And I challenged her and I said, I don't really think the reason that you want to meal prep is so that you can eat healthier. I think there's maybe another reason. And she goes, we do go out to eat a lot. And that's because I haven't meal prepped and I haven't prepared what we're going to eat. And so I know eating out a lot isn't that healthy. And I said, well, yeah, that can be true. You can make good choices while you eat out if that's something that's really important to you. So is meal prepping something you want to do because you really want to get healthy? Is that the actual goal? And you do want to eat healthier things and you don't want to make these sweets and things for your grandchildren? Maybe you need to learn like healthy recipes for like muffins that taste good, and like you could add carrots into the muffins that you're making for your grandkids. Like those things exist if that's really what the goal is, if it's really for you to eat healthier. And she finally came to the conclusion that really wasn't that important to her. The real reason why she wanted to meal prep was so that they wouldn't eat out as much. And the reason she didn't want to eat out as much was to save money. So the goal was still the same, meal prepping. But the reason she was having resistance with it was because of her why. Her why did not resonate with her at all because it really wasn't why she wanted to do it. The real reason why she wanted to do it was she so that they wouldn't eat out as much and so they could save money. And I said, okay, what if because you eat out less, because you've meal prepped, now you have this money that you're saving. It sounds to me like spending time with your grandkids is super important to you. What if you took some of that money you saved and put it into a savings account and plan like a fun trip for you to take with your grandkids? And her eyes just lit up and she was like, yes, I would love to take a fun trip with my grandkids. That's something that's so important to me, is spending this quality time with them. That was something that motivated her to start meal prepping. The next week, she had done all this research and all this stuff and started meal prepping. Okay, so it's finding the why that really resonates with you. And this might be something that you want to bring up on our coaching call where you can go, like I did with that client. This is my goal, but I'm having a lot of resistance. I'm not sure if my why is in alignment here. Okay, like she picked a good goal, meal prepping, But her why, she was just picking like why other people meal prep. Other people meal prep because they want to be healthy. And you might do that same thing in your homeschool. Okay, one of my goals is that we have a consistent morning time every day. Why is that super important to you? Why does that make you want to get up out of bed every morning? Is it because somebody else is doing it? It's probably not going to be super motivating. So you have to develop that reason for yourself. Why is this so important to you? Then in this last column here, you can write out the how. So I want you to brainstorm at least 3 ways you can meet this goal. Because what happens is we often get into a dilemma. We pick two things. I can either do this or I could do that. Then we feel all this pressure to make the right decision because it's between this and that. And then we overanalyze everything and we get stuck. Like I've said, you might have heard this term I use, over analysis paralysis. We become paralyzed in overanalyzing research. We're not taking any forward steps towards meeting any of our goals because we're stuck in trying to make this right decision. If we don't make the right decision, then we're going to screw it all up and it's going to be wrong. And then I'm going to have to fix everything and the whole world's going to come to an end, right? We catastrophize. If you have at least three things, then it's not a dilemma between this and that and feeling like you have to pick the right answer. There's lots of possibilities for how you can meet a certain goal. And I want you to see that. Be creative, brainstorm something out of the box. Don't feel like you have to pick the right thing. Oftentimes, when we're working towards a goal, we try one thing and we realize, okay, well, that didn't work. And a lot of people, what they do is they think they can't meet the goal's not the problem. It's the how. And that I would argue that how wasn't even a problem. If you tried something and it didn't work, well, okay, now one less thing to try, right? Now you have, that's why you have these other options, right? You can try these things and see if that works. It's really easy when you're thinking about something like weight loss, right? So people might be, okay, I'm going to try. So my goal is I'm going to do a Whole30. Okay. Why do you want to do it? Okay. Why? I want to be healthy. I want to have energy to play with my kids. Now they can come up with these really great reasons. Okay. Here's the problem. If you try Whole30 and by day 10, you give up on Whole30 because you just have all this resistance. It doesn't fit with your family. It doesn't fit with your eating style, your body type, XYZ. Now you're done, right? You're like, okay, I give up. I can't lose weight. Hey, your goal was on the how. Your goal wasn't actually a goal of losing weight or becoming healthy or something like that. Because if your goal are those things, well, then there's lots of different ways to get there. So automatically by making the goal like a how, and that does not happen, you're shooting yourself in the foot because then you don't have any other choice. Whereas if your goal is, okay, I'm going to be healthier and have more energy for my family. How are you going to try that? I'm going to try doing Whole30 first. Okay, great. By day 10, you quit. You go, oh, I just learned after 10 days, this is not what I should be doing. Okay, what's next? And you can keep working towards that goal, keep making progress. You don't feel like you need to give up because you have lots of options. So you want to do that with your how. Let me give you an example from like the homeschooling space. So I recently had a mom post a question on Facebook, and the story is she has a teenage son and then she has two younger children. And during morning time, there's been a lot of resistance with the teenage son. He is beginning frustrated with his younger siblings when they're not paying attention. He gets frustrated, with their narrations and those kind of things. And she responded, these are the two options I see. One, he does the readings in the beauty loop, which is part of the morning time for Dental Feast. He does it alone and needs to narrate it all. Or two, I could do morning time at the end of the school day where it doesn't ruin the rest of the day for everyone, as you were saying, because of all this tension between him and his siblings, like it really is just creating like a bad mood and people are arguing and it really is not the pleasant experience that she wants to have in the morning. Okay. So see what she did in her post here though. She said, there are two options I see. So automatically that's creating a dilemma. I have to decide between this and this. So there's always more than two options. Always. There's always endless possibilities here. There's lots of different things she can try. So I would say, what is your goal? This is why it's important to know your priorities and know your vision. Is the goal that you want to start off your mornings with the entire family together? Is your goal that you want to start off your mornings in a peaceful state, taking in beautiful things? Those are two different goals. If your goal is that we're going to start our day all together, then keep doing what you've been doing, right? You're all together. You're accomplishing that goal, right? If it's that we want to start off our day peacefully looking at these beautiful things, and this sibling tension isn't creating that, oh, now I have to look at how can I still meet this goal? How can I start off our day peacefully looking at beautiful things? It might mean that the teenager, they might honestly just need some more sleep. I thought when my kids were going through puberty, they need sleep. Waking them up for morning time was just asking for crankiness, right? So the answer might be they just need more time to sleep. And I do morning time with the other kids. And the older child can do their independent readings. They can look at some of that art and composer kind of study on their own time. They might not need to be at morning time for a season because my goal is to start off our mornings in a peaceful, happy state. It might mean I move those kind of morning time subjects to the end of the day, like that suggestion. And we start off our day doing something really simple that's peaceful, like listening to a hymn and having breakfast and praying together. And then we go off. We don't try to do all the morning time. We save some of that for reading after lunch, or maybe when dad comes home from work, we could do it. If your goal is that I really want us all to start the day together, then maybe morning time isn't that option, right? Like I was saying, maybe it's just something really quick and simple that you could all start together with a prayer and some yummy breakfast, and then we're going off. We're still starting our day together, right? So this is why knowing what you truly want is so important, because there are many ways to get to the thing that you really, really want. And what happens is we focus so much on the how that we don't ever take the time to ask ourselves what the vision is. What is the rock? And then why? Why is that so important? So maybe the most important thing for you is that we start our day all together. Why? Why do you want? Why does everybody need to be around the table first thing in the morning? I don't know. If that's important to you, you can tell me why that's important, right? Maybe your most important thing is that you start the day off in a peaceful, calm way. Why? Why is that really important to you? Can you start your day off in a peaceful, calm, beautiful state on your own, doing your own little personal morning time? Absolutely. And then bringing them in and maybe adding on pieces as you get used to the morning time together. Okay. So again, this is why there's no like cut and dry little box answers to a lot of the things people ask me in Facebook. I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know what you really want. What you really want might be different than what somebody else wants. And I really don't believe there are any shoulds, have tos, must do's. This is your homeschool. Okay. You don't have to do it all first thing in the morning. Like you even had that suggestion, right? You don't have to do it all together. You get to decide how to meet those rocks and those priorities for you. So I really want you to take time to do that. So write your 5 rocks, write why it's important to you, and then brainstorm some hows. And if you need help with some of these hows, if you're only coming up with 2 ideas and you're like, I can't think of any, I can't think of a third option, okay, ask in the Facebook. That's what we're for. Ask in the group, okay, so we can help each other with that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take those priorities, those rocks, after you've kind of brainstormed your why and your how, and you're going to come up with some goals for the year, okay? So for your goals, you want to write them according to the 3 Ps, I call them. You want your goals to be written in a positive language. So no, I'm going to stop, I'm going to quit, I want to lose, I'm going to give up. That's all negative language, okay? So positive, I am doing this. We are going to do this. I am this. Keep it in the positive and keep it present tense. So oftentimes we write our goals like in the future tense. I want to, I will, someday, blah, blah, blah. And what happens is when we write them like that, our brain is thinking, okay, that's like way far away. That doesn't actually really happen. But when we're saying, like, no, this is happening now, even if it's not happening now. Okay. We realize this is a goal. This is something we're working towards. But by writing it out as something that is actually happening now, it helps our brains see this possibility. Like I said, our brains don't like to stretch, they don't like to grow. It creates a lot of work. And so our brains, they want to keep things easy for us. It's helping us out here most of the time, except when we want to grow and change, because then it's that stretching part, and our brains just want to be comfortable and keep things nice and easy for us. And I don't know if you really want to do that. So your brain gives us like doubts and fears, and it helps us question things because it wants to keep us where we're at. This is normal. This feels safe, but it's not. It most of the time it's keeping us stuck. And so we have to train our brain to start to see the possibilities. So those I am statements really help. And so do writing out our goals in the present tense. And we want to make the goals personal. So my third P is personal. So write it. They should start with I. You can't write a goal for somebody else. We would love to, right? And you're more than welcome to. But here's the thing, that's not going to actually probably happen because you can't control another person. We try really hard, right? Especially our kids, but we can't. So writing out, my child is going to love learning this year. Sounds really nice, doesn't it? But here's the thing, you can't actually control that. You can control, I'm going to show up every day excited to learn. I'm going to love learning this year. You can control that, right? Because it has to do with you. So writing goals for your kids, that's not going to work. My child is going to learn to read this year. They might not, right? They might not be developmentally ready. You can control only you. I'm consistently going to do our reading lessons for 15 minutes every day. Oh, did you see how I worded that in the present? I'm so good. And it was positive, right? So as you're writing out your goals, now don't get all stressed about it, okay? Just write them out. And if you need to reword it, great. And if you can't think about how to reword it, ask us, we can help. But you want them to be the 3 Ps: personal, positive, and in the present tense. And I would really encourage you, as you're writing these goals for your homeschool, to write one goal for you, love, you, okay? We don't want to neglect ourselves. We want to be able to pour from a full cup. And I believe I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again. When I first started going to counseling, my counselor asked me what I like to do for fun. A very simple question. It's like one of those like icebreaker questions, like, where do you work? How old are your kids? What do you like to do for fun? And I literally froze because I couldn't think of anything I like to do for fun because I never took time to do things I thought were fun. And what happened was that led me to be burnout, tired, bitter, resentful, angry at everybody else because they're keeping me from doing things like filling my own cup here and doing things that I love and make me happy. And so she challenged me to brainstorm. She said, even think back to like when you were a child. What did you like to do for fun when you were a kid? And I was like, well, I used to like to write. I used to like to roller skate. I wanted to be a singer. So I wrote songs and I wanted to learn to play guitar. And this is funny. When I was younger, with the kids in the neighborhood, we would play school. And I was always the teacher when we played school. I was a little bossy. And so I always had to be the teacher. And we also had those old tape recorder, like voice recorder things. They had these little tiny tapes and it could record you talking. And so my friends and I, we'd show a radio show. We called it Kids Talk. And we would like interview, like we pretend, okay, you be Madonna and I'm going to ask you like all these questions and those kind of things. So it was really insightful for me to do this exercise because it showed me some ideas of things I could try again that I once thought were fun, but it also showed me those God-given desires that were there when I was a kid. Because when you're a kid and you're playing and you're not encumbered by what you're supposed to do or what you should do or what people tell you you're good at, or you don't have all the baggage of things that have happened to you in your life. And if you look at those things that just lit you up and fulfilled you as a little child, that's probably your God-given gift and desire and the thing that you need to bring to the world. And so I remember doing this exercise with her, and it confirmed that I love to teach. I know it's shocking to you all who are watching this, but also doing that little radio show is so like doing a podcast today, right? If I was a kid, like in today's world, I would totally have a YouTube channel, you know what I'm saying? But we had little tape recorders back then, so we had to work with what we had. But that ability and that desire to teach, to interview, to talk to people, that was there as a kid. I also loved to dance as a child. And I would choreograph little numbers for the neighbor kids to do, and we would all wear costumes and we'd put on shows and those kind of things. So obviously, some leadership skills were present as a very young child. And like I said, it made me realize, oh, I've always loved to dance. I always think dance is super fun, but I don't dance. And so adding that into our school day is something fun that has just been super great, and taking little dance breaks and those kind of things. Actually, at one point, took adult ballet classes again. So that was interesting. It's a lot harder when you're in your late 30s to try to do ballet than it is when you're a teenager, but I tried. And that's the thing. Oh, you have to just try these different things. So I want you to write a goal for yourself. Maybe it's just, I want to read a chapter a day, and you want to grow into a better reading habit, and you want to grow your mind. Maybe it's a spiritual discipline. I'm going to sign up for a Bible study. I'm going to sign up for a Charlotte Mason book club. I'm going to start my own. There's been many times where I've started my own book clubs or Bible studies or things like that because there wasn't any that I could sign up for. So I was like, I might as well start it if I want to do this and I want to learn and grow in this area. It could be something fun. Okay. Maybe you had something you really liked to do as a kid and you just don't do it anymore. And you loved roller skating. So you're going to take the kids roller skating. Or like me, I had wanted to be a singer, which is really funny because if you hear me sing, you will realize that was not a God-given calling. But I decided to take guitar lessons a couple years ago. It's a lot harder than it looks. And I eventually gave that up after a couple months, but I tried it. And that's the thing. Like I'm saying, it's you try. The goal wasn't for me to learn to be a world famous guitarist. The goal was for me to try a new skill that I thought was fun. And I accomplished it. And I realized, okay, that's not for me. What's next? Let's go try the next fun thing. Let's pick up some new skill or some new habit that I also think is fun. So I'm trying to figure out what that next thing is too. So I want you to come up with something fun, something meaningful, just something for you, an area of your life personally that you also want to grow in. So not just 5 homeschool goals, but also just a goal, like a personal goal that's going to grow you and shape you as a person. And I do encourage you to look back when you were younger. Think back when you were like late elementary school, like 4th, 5th grade. What did you like to do? What lit you up? What just set your soul on fire? I remember doing this exercise with some of my coaching clients, and one lady said, man, when I was like 8 or 9, I was like a tomboy, man. I had all brothers and we played outside every day and we were climbing trees every day, and I love being so physically active and being outside. And I said, yeah, wow, that's so cool that you had that experience growing up. That is so fun. How does that translate into your life today? Where do you see that God-given desire coming out in your adult life? I don't go do anything outside at all. And I said, okay, where do you think you might want to start? She said, I think I'm going to start hiking every week. I think I could do that. I think I can add that to my schedule. And then just one thing led to another. So this lady, she's older than me. And so she just started doing like little walks around her neighborhood. And then she started hiking. She's going to run a half marathon in Disney this spring, people. Okay. So we went from doing no physical activity outside to realizing she loves this, loved walking, loved hiking. That led to running, and just can't get enough of it because that was just a God-given desire in her that she had just let die. But it was still there. It was still part of the intricate, amazing person that God made her to be. And we all have that inside of us. So I encourage you to try to find that and write a goal for you. Another worksheet that I would like you to look at in your workbook is this yearly planning sheet. So it has all the months on it. And what I would like you to do as you're looking for your year, and this might fit into one of your goals if you had like a big goal. I think I told you all, like one of mine was to take a trip to Washington, D.C. So that'll fit into this yearly planning thing. Or like you had a big camping trip, want to go home to visit some family. Those are all great goals. That might fit into this yearly planning, where some of your other goals are going to be things that you're going to be doing on a regular basis every day. But I also just want to plan fun things. So planning fun things gives me something to look forward to. And it helps me to plan out like a whole year at a time here. Now, things might get moved around and things might change and shift. At least I have some sort of direction and I know where I'm going here. So what I did was I just wrote down every month, like something I might want to do that month. Now, some of them are already decided, like our trip to Washington, D.C. is in March. So that's actually happening. We have tickets to go to a big football game in November. We always take a homeschool family day to Great Wolf Lodge with a whole bunch of other homeschool friends. I've literally been doing that for 15 years now. And it's like the highlight of my kids' year. And I love having those kind of markers in our lives, because really that's what they're going to look back on, right, from their childhood, and remember those special memories and those things that we do and those traditions that we have. And so it helps for me to look at the whole year, and I realize, oh my goodness, like September doesn't have anything. But in September, we have a ton of soccer games, and we're just getting back into like our routines in the fall. So I'm not going to plan like some big trip somewhere else, but what's something I can do in my community that would be fun? I'm going to go and research, are there any like festivals happening in my hometown in September that we could just go to that's right here, or like an apple orchard or things like that that are close by, where we could just take a day trip somewhere, because the rest of the month is full of kind of some of our other activities. So it doesn't always have to be this big, like huge trip. The fun thing can be like today we went tubing in the river by our house for several hours, and it was just so relaxing. I love tubing. Like it doesn't require any effort. It's not like hiking or anything. But we saw all kinds of cool things. We saw all kinds of turtles sunbathing, and we saw blue heron, and just being out there in the water is so relaxing and so restorative for my soul. And it literally took 3 hours of my time. So it was not a big, huge thing, but it's actually putting it on the calendar and scheduling it and making it happen. Just do some brainstorming of things that you might want to do in the coming year. And it might be where some of them, depending on how big they are, you might need to start doing some, like our DC trip in March. I'm already having to coordinate a lot of that, book some of the travel arrangements, put deposits, like stuff needs to be happening now in order for that to actually happen in March. The Great Wolf Lodge thing, I had to put our deposit down for that already. And then other things are like, oh, I'm not really sure what we could do this month, but here's some brainstorm of some ideas. And maybe when it gets closer to that month, like I said, I'll be able to find some local things that will come up or pop up, and I'll be able to plan that. But I'm intentional. I'm intentional about meeting this goal of doing fun things that create special memories with my family. That was a rock for me. And so this yearly planning thing really helps me make sure that happens. Otherwise, like with the rocks, with the rice, in that example, our life will fill up with stuff. It will always be busy. There will always be things going on. If we're not intentional, this weekend we're doing this, it'll fill up with other stuff. Trust me. So we want to be intentional about blocking the things that are really important to us, filling our schedule with those rocks first.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Feast Life. Let's wrap up with some key takeaways. Number 1, identity shapes outcomes. The thoughts you repeat daily about yourself become your reality. If you believe you're capable and called, you'll begin to live that truth out in your homeschool. Number 2, define your rocks. Think of your rocks as the most important priorities for the year. If only these 5 things happen, you'll still call it a success. Write these down and keep them in front of your mind. Number 3, dig deep into your why. A strong why creates motivation that lasts. If your reason doesn't light you up, it's time to refine it until it does. Number 4, keep your options open. For every rock, brainstorm at least 3 ways to reach it. That way you're not stuck in either or thinking. You have a backup plan when one approach doesn't work, and you can still reach your goals. And number 5, write your goals using the 3 Ps. Make them personal, positive, and present. Frame your goals as I am statements that are rooted in what you can control stated positively and written in the present tense. So here's your homework. Grab a piece of paper and list your 5 rocks. For each one, jot down your why and brainstorm at least 3 possible hows. Then pick one fun memory maker to add to this month's calendar. It could be a hike, a game night, a day trip, etc. These intentional steps keep the year aligned with your vision and make it more enjoyable for everyone. Remember, your homeschool year doesn't need to be defined by shoulds or by fear of not doing enough. When you align your identity, clarify your priorities, and take these small intentional steps, you'll create a homeschool life that feels rich, meaningful, and life-giving. You got this. I hope you have a wonderful year. Hey there, Julie Ross here. I just wanted to say thank you for listening to today's episode. If you like this show, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a positive review in iTunes. This really does help people learn about the podcast. And each month I will pick a winner to receive a free gift. Don't forget to check out all the free resources we created for you at thefeastlife.me. Thank you.